Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of I Was There Last Night, because I was there last night. Okay, that's a lie. It wasn't actually last night. It was about a week and a half ago, but this one was special. So on February 24th, 2017, I saw Sabaton with very special guest Accept and featuring Twilight Force at the Helsingin Jäähalli in Helsinki, Finland. That's right, I'm opening up my new concert year with my first European show ever in Finland. See? Got the ticket to prove it. It's even in Finnish. Now, I wasn't about to go to Finland without going to a metal show. Even though Sabaton isn't Finnish, I wasn't about to go to this country without seeing some kind of metal. But since I've seen Sabaton recently, and I will see them again very soon, I'll focus on the other bands and the experience of the Finnish metal scene. So my impressions of the show were pretty much what I expected. Metal is kind of a universal language. There's a lot of diversity in the crowd of ages, gender, metal expression. You got the guys just wearing, the simple t-shirt, and then you got the guys fully decked out. So there was a good diversity. The arena's not huge. It's about an 8,200 person capacity, but they definitely had more people on the floor. But it was a good size for the bands, especially for Sabaton. I think this was a really good size for them. And I don't normally get merch, but I had to get a shirt here, and I actually got the last large edition of this limited shirt. Yeah, I don't regret that one. One big thing, though, that I did notice is that there are no drinks allowed in the pit area. I also didn't see much in the way of weed. Now, security there wasn't militaristic, but their presence was definitely known. They had people moving through the crowd and keeping an eye to make sure there was no drinks going into the pit area. It was also funny, walking in, there was a sign that said no fireworks, which I thought was an oddly specific rule, but later I found out why when I heard fireworks going off in between sets. Apparently that's a common problem in Finland. But overall, it was very much a metal show. Didn't really have anything outrageously different than what I've seen in the US, just some minor differences between the two.
For the grace, for the might of the Lord, in the name of His glory.
band up was Twilight Force. They're a fantasy-themed power metal band from Sweden, and they were a lot of fun. Being the big nerds that they are, they even had this stuffed animal war with these caped hippos. Musically, they remind me of a lot of other power metal bands like, say, Dragon Force, and especially the guitar work reminded me of them specifically. That's why Dragon Force was like the first one that came to mind. Even though their lyrics are all in English, they spoke in a mix of Swedish and English, or as they called it, Swedeglish. But unfortunately, they did have some technical issues during their finale. They lost their sound on the lead guitar, which was unfortunate because that last song sounded pretty awesome. This is my first exposure to them, so I didn't necessarily know what the songs were going in, but they opened with a song called Battle of Arcane Might, which was definitely a good way to get the ball rolling. Another one I really enjoyed was called Flight of the Sapphire Dragon. That was really fun, and just the name of that is very cool. But my favorite had to have been Riders of the Dawn. It was really just a fun, powerful, one of those songs they definitely wanted to highlight, and I think people really responded well to it. So Twilight Force was definitely an enjoyable power metal band and someone I would like to check out. Seeing them live definitely got me interested in it. Their music is fun, they're big nerds, and that's okay in my book. So the next band up was Accept, the German metal legends. They were next, and they got the crowd fired up. Definitely a lot of people there to see Accept. They opened with the song Stampede, and they really didn't relent for their entire set. Most of their songs are very fast, very fun, classic type of metal. And that's who they are. They are a classic heavy metal band with some, like, speed influences in there. Kind of in the same vein as your Motorheads. Throughout the show, I was thinking the lead singer really reminded me of Lemmy. Not just the sound of his voice, but just sort of his attitude and his presence on stage. Now, for being a band that's been around for 30 plus years, they have a ton of energy, and they put on a really exciting show. But it definitely helps that the band has two magnificent guitarists for your dueling guitar pleasure. I always love dueling guitars, and these guys have it in spades. From the beginning to the very end, they were playing songs that really energized the crowd. They ended the show with Balls to the Wall, which I think was one that they really wanted to just get the crowd involved, get them fired up, and they absolutely achieved that goal. Now, there was a lot of participation from the crowd at this point, maybe a little bit more than I see in the U.S. That's not to say U.S. crowds don't participate, but I think you just see a little bit more from the European crowd, especially with even the opening band that most people probably haven't even heard of. Now, the only Accept song that I actually know, they played Teutonic Terror. I did not expect them to play it because it's the one song I know out of their entire catalog, but they did play it, and it was awesome. They also played Restless and Wild, Stalingrad, Fast as a Shark, just to name a few of the other great songs. Their entire set was fantastic. I absolutely enjoyed every minute of it. But my favorite song, which really showcased just how epic this band is the song Princess of the Dawn. When they played that, oh my god, I lost it. It was crazy good. And just like Twilight Force, this is a band that I do now want to go back and start to explore a little bit more. They've been around for a long time, so they have a pretty solid fan base, but they just gained another fan thanks to an amazing show.
Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. Stop the castles, salt in the air.
the Swedish Pagans themselves, Sabaton, which is definitely a band that seems comfortable in an arena setting. It gives them the opportunity for pyrotechnics, video display, mounted artillery, because you need that at a Sabaton show. It was actually really cool because during their setup, they used the 300 score. Normally during setup, they're playing just like, some relevant rock or metal music, but this time they used the score from the movie 300, which I thought was super fitting. Their set wasn't too much different than the last time I heard them back in September. They even used the same banter when they were setting up Swedish Pagans. But they also tailored the show to a Finnish crowd who absolutely love that fact. They played Soldier of Three Armies and White Death, which are both about Finnish heroes. Now, regardless of what I've already seen, Sabaton is just an incredibly fun band. I absolutely love watching this band because they put on such a fun show, they get the crowd involved, and their music is just fun and exciting music. Now, of course, they played their hits like Carolus Rex, Sparta, Ghost Division, Night Witches. Like I said, the set wasn't too much different than what I heard before. There was just more to it because they were the headliner this time. But their acoustic rendition of The Final Solution was just bone-chilling. It was like, whew, that was really intense song.
Center wheel trains, Daytona, one-way train to hell. Enter the gates, Auschwitz awaits. When freedom burns, the final solution. Dreams fade away, and all hope turns to dust. When millions burn, the curtain has fallen, lost to the world as they perish in flames.
And it's really hard to pick a favorite because, again, I love Sabaton so much and they have such a diverse catalog. Unfortunately, I did have to leave before the encore, so I did not get to hear them play Shirayama, which I'm sure I would have just lost my shit. But I will say, of the songs that they played that I really haven't heard them play before, I would say either Lion of the North or White Death were my favorites from the night because they were some deeper cuts. And specifically with White Death, you really saw the crowd get into it. The crowd just was losing their minds during that song. And it really highlighted how Sabaton can bring their sound to various places and really tailor their show to those locations. And the crowd just absolutely loving every minute of it. They achieved that here, and I absolutely loved every minute of it. Overall, for my first European show, I had an absolute blast, especially with the two bands I didn't know. I really enjoyed their music. The crowd was out of their minds during Sabaton's set, though I will give a slight edge to Denver's chanting ability, even though they have a smaller crowd, but Denver really knows how to chant for Sabaton. And like I said, I saw a lot of participation in the music, and probably a little bit more than I see here at home, especially from the women in the crowd. There were a lot of women, a lot of men, both of them. Everyone was getting involved. I mean, come on, chicks dig metal too. Again, metal is pretty consistent worldwide. It's a universal language, so, the shows are going to be fairly similar anywhere you go. But there were enough little differences for me to really enjoy the uniqueness of that show. I'm just very glad I got to experience it and thoroughly enjoyed the support bands as well as Sabaton, who I have yet to see them put on a bad show. And truly, this was the perfect way to start a new concert season, and there are so many more to come this year.
Stubborn lovers, angels in the night.
If you happen to be at that show, let me know your thoughts on it. If you enjoyed it, hopefully you did. And if you didn't go to the show, do check out a European metal show if you ever get the chance to head to Europe. It's pretty awesome. And that does it for this episode of I Was There Last Night, and I'll see you guys in a few weeks. Bye-bye. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Nice work. Good job. If you like what you saw, you can just go ahead and click that subscribe button for all videos past and future. You can also head over to my website and see all the other stuff that I do, including the books I've written. So go ahead, click stuff.